Why, hello, all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel. Excuse me. Sorry, I am back now. Let us do that again. As I was saying, hello, all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel, where I am here, and I'm Elaine, here to do a chill little stream with you guys, where we'll be unboxing some stuff, and by we, I mean me and Jeremy, when Jeremy appears out of thin air. Maybe we'll do a magic poof thing, and by we, I mean him, because I am not the technical person here. But we're going to be opening some figures, Gamersupps stuff. We're going to be chatting about seasonal anime and more. We're going to be snacking. I currently have no snacks. Those will be revealed later after we do the fun openings. Now, I haven't been buying as many figures as I might normally. I'm trying to save the funds for the most beautiful figures I can find, but also the most beautiful figures I can find are also astronomically expensive. So the most beautiful figures I can find that I can actually afford. That's what I'm doing. And I've pre-ordered a few things, so we have a lot to look forward to going forward. I don't know when they're going to come out because they've gotten delayed, but I'm looking forward to that. And I've also picked up a few little things here and there over the last few months. I actually picked up this one last month with Jeremy at the mall. I used my hot cash, burned my little fingies a little bit. And now that I'm looking at it again, I'm like, this is going to be a very tiny little figure, which I guess kind of works with Anya Forger because she is, in fact, a tiny person like me. We have that in common. She, though, is not quite full grown, so there is hope for her. There is no hope for me. But in this cute little box is the Spy Family figure Break Time collection from Bandai Namco and Ben Presto of Anya Forger. And you could see one of her stuffed animals, the penguin that, you know, she's maybe played with a little too much and damaged a little bit. Don't worry about it. And she's just kind of dragging it around on the floor. And she's got one of those like old-timey robot type things from the 90s. And that's the figure. On the side, we get a close-up of what it's going to look like. The back and the front seem to be the same. And then this side's a little different. It says Spy Family Break Time Collection. So liking the colors on the box, nice blue and yellow motif going on. But in terms of design, nothing particularly special, but it does get the job done. It shows us what we're going to open, and I'm really looking forward to opening this Spy Family Break Time Collection figure. Because Anya Forger is one of my favorite girls. So without any further ado, just going to open that. It's a pretty simple lift top. Ooh, crinkle, crinkle. We get one of these pull tabs of cardboard. I was going to say paper, and I'm like, this is not paper, honey. Get it right. And I've only opened a few figures of this size before, but they always come in this like weirdly packaged contraption of cardboard. It almost looks like a bed, you know, like with a headboard. She's just sleeping in there. I guess because she's inside, it's more of a coffin. And I'm going to release her from this little bed here. You can actually just yoink her out and then shove the cardboard back in the box. Which I'm going to do just in case I need to move one day and I want a safe place to put her. So as we can see, this comes in a few little pieces. There's most of the body of the penguin in plastic. Arms, just dislocated arms. Don't worry about it. We'll make it okay in a minute. And then Anya herself. So first thing I'm going to do is get this stuff out of the packaging. start with the littlest thing, which is just this pair of arms. So here's Anya's arm. Here's the penguin's arm. It's got a few stitches on it from when it had to be knit back up. Here's Anya. Her hairline's a little interesting. It looks like she was put together from like here forward seems to be one piece, and then like around here back is another. So if you look at her from the side, you see this very distinct split in her hairline, which I'm not super fond of, but other than that, her hair looks pretty good and basically what I remember from the show. She's got her little pointy hair pieces, a little upward pointing piece of hair, which is pretty cute, and kind of like a little shocked expression. And like these very spindly little legs, if I'm being completely honest. And then what looks like the shoes and socks I used to wear to Sunday school. I don't know how else to describe them. That's what it reminds me of. Like those silly little buckle shoes Mama used to buy me and make me wear. Sorry, Mama, I love you. Did not love those shoes. They were not cute on me or any other child who bought them back in the 90s, and I imagine buys the slightly updated version now. And then basically her little school outfit with her little bow. Oh, kind of cute. Does not seem like it will stand up on its own. Yeah, that's not happening. I guess the penguin is used to support her, like as a counterweight. Let's find out. First thing I noticed are the serial number on the feet. I've never really liked serial numbers or details like that on a figure. I understand why they're there, but I think it really detracts from immersing yourself in the figure's world for a moment when you look at it. So it's just like a little stitched up penguin, missing an arm very clearly. It's got its pointy little feet, and it's just kind of flat in the back. It looks very potato shaped, and then you turn it around and it's just flat on the back, so it'll stay in place and not roll around on your shelf. So in terms of design, that was pretty good, but there's not much in terms of detail. It's just kind of a big blob in 2 colors with some stitches on it. Well, 3 if you count the orange, which I barely do because there's not that much of it. So I'm assuming the first thing we do, it would help if I pointed it in the right direction, is stick, oh, come on, this guy in here. So that went in fairly easily after that initial push. He's like, I've fallen, I can't get up. I've fallen on you, I can't get up. He's very big in comparison to her. Let's just put them side by side comparison. Okay, maybe it wasn't as bad. Maybe it's just because he's much bulkier that he looks significantly bigger. But I don't think, if this weighed anything, she would be able to drag him around. This poor child. Let's give this child her arm back. So I think it's like this. Oh, okay. Maybe that. No. Okay. What if No, let's make her. She's a gymnast now. They're going to win the Olympic medal. Don't know why I'm struggling so much. Why I'm struggling is because I don't have... All right, are we going to do it? Okay, we did it. So I will say that it is easy enough to put together. I don't think it needs directions. It didn't come with any, and logically speaking, how to put this together. In reality, I think it can be a little hard to slide the arm in particular in. I don't know why. And it feels flimsy. Like, it doesn't feel like I can move it without everything falling apart. And getting her to stand at first took just a second. But after you get it situated, I think you're basically fine. So I was right. This is not a very large figure. It is a little long, considering it's only 2 tiny components. But definitely not going to take up too much shelf space. It would be great for some of those like little narrow shelves you never know what to do with that come with a bookshelf. But she's definitely not something you can move around too much because the arms and the legs are so spindly, especially in comparison to this bulky penguin boy. In terms of look, I think it's pretty true to what we see of her and her toys in the anime. And what little I've seen in the manga, I haven't seen any panels that were colored in. But what I know from the anime is that this is basically how they look in terms of color, saturation, brightness, all those sorts of things. I do like that she's holding a second toy under her arm because it suggests that she's going off to play. And I like that because I think Anya is a very playful character who, for the most part, doesn't seem to take too much seriously. So I like that they're adding in these aspects that portray that element of her character. I do think it might have been better, though, just to get a little more color variance to have had her hold her Chimera toy instead. And because we see her play with that more often, I think it would have been more realistic. I think I've only seen the robot like kind of sitting in the corner of her room. And it's not really something that she's played with. I don't think I've ever seen her play with it. I don't think I've ever seen her play with it on the show. There we go. I got there. So I think it's an interesting choice that they went. The robot. I'm talking about the robot she's holding. I was saying, Jeremy just walked in, by the way, in case you're wondering where the shouting's coming from. And was like, oh no, she played with the penguin. I'm like, yes, she has played with the penguin. I don't think I remember her playing with the robot. And I was saying that maybe it would have been nice if she had been holding the Chimera toy, not only because she plays with it more often and is often depicted with it, but because of the color variance, just to add another little pop of color to this tiny little figure that is very flimsy in the arm department and the leg department and is wearing my Sunday shoes. I mean, look at the shoes, Jeremy. They're my little Sunday shoes. They just need the little buckle. Complete Sunday shoes. And what, Jeremy? Are you going to come? I'm doing technical stuff. Technical man can, and he's doing the technical things because technically he's technical. So overall, I like it. I'm glad that it's staying on its own, so I'm not really going to mess with it now that it's doing its thing. I will say, though, if I were to buy another Anya figure, I think I'd try to find something that isn't as heavily impacted by its narrow limbs. Because I have heard and seen in reviews that this arm gets dislocated a lot, which I feel like is not ideal in a figure, but doesn't seem to be a problem with mine. My issue was more so just getting it to actually stay in there, but once it was in there, it was fine. So that would be my feedback. Overall, I'm very happy with it. I like how pronounced the stitches are. I think it's true to form. This is how I remember her penguin being damaged. I'm just combining words today. And it has a little bit of texture. You can feel it being raised above the penguin's belly. And there she is, just walking off with her little penguin. And her robot. Don't forget the robot. He's a sad little robot. And he needs to be happy by you remembering him. And also remembering to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, I'm plugging it early. I'm doing it early, people. I can do what I want. Jeremy yells at me from the other side. So, the other figure I'm opening today is from an anime that Jeremy and I watched more recently, which is The Rising of the Shield Hero. And Philo quickly became my favorite character because I like her design. She's very cute. She looks like a little angel, but she's in fact a big fluffy burb who likes cute and fluffy things and also eating and is a sassy little person periodically. And I like that about her. I like when people point out how annoying other people are and make fun of them, and they do it in a way that isn't overly obnoxious or really obnoxious at all. So I fell in love with my burb, found this figure, was sad that it was no longer available for order from Japan, where I normally buy my figures. But then I noticed that I could get it at Big Bad Toy Store. So this was actually my first purchase from Big Bad Toy Store. it went on sale, making it a lot closer in price to what I would have gotten it for if I were to have bought it from Japan. And I was like, now's the time. It's a sign from above that I must buy my burb. So here is my burb. In the flesh, sort of, not really. Ready for me to open. So here I am, excited to open this Rising of the Shield Hero Philo 7th scale pre-painted figure from Season 2. Craftsmanship Kotobukiya. Box is pretty straightforward. Has the clear view of the figure in this little window here on the front. The side shows Philo with some magical stuff. Back shows a close-up of her face and little details like her bow, her little dress details, and her little feetsies because she's standing on a rock. Because she does run around a lot. She does a lot of hopping and jumping and skipping and running away, but all for the benefit of, her master and stuff. And then here's the titular shield from the Rising of the Shield Hero. And the top of the box just has the name of the figure on it. So without any further ado, I'm going to open my burb and add her to the collection of things I have. And I did it again. I crushed the top of the box opening it. Every time. One day I will get to a point where I don't do that anymore and it will be beautiful. But today is not that day. And it smells very heavily of plastic in this house now. Oh, you can see the level up stuff in the back. Like the skill tree. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's a nice touch. I like when they do more with the boxes. So I've had figures, mainly the ones I get from Pokemon Center, not to knock Pokemon Center because I do like their products, but they don't really do much with their boxes. They're just like white with black text and a Pokeball on it. And I'm like, you could have shown me what was in the box so I wouldn't have to like read the name to know what was in the box. It was something that always frustrates me because I feel like this is, your biggest marketing device. You make the box look good. You can highlight the awesomeness of the figure and then people want to buy you. And then when you skimp, it's less likely people will buy you, which is the opposite, in fact, of what you want. Because you want people to buy you so you can hang out on their shelf collecting dust for eternity. I'm very bad at dusting my things. That was what that was. Okay, so we have I forgot, I cut my nails. No. Now I need to do a tape scrape.
I'm finally here.
So, do you want to talk about how much you love the burb? Because I know the burb is totally your favorite character from the Rising of the Shield Hero.
Shite. I think design-wise, she has a really nice design. I don't think that design was a strength of Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad as some of the other things we've watched or some of the games we've played.
I feel like it was less unique than a lot of other shows try to be. Do you want a thing to cut it with?
No, I'm gonna open it like a book. Yay!
Because, he did get summoned via book, so it's kind of, on brand to do it that way. Remember, wasn't he like reading in the library and we were like, oh my God, he didn't die by Truck-kun or get stabbed by stabby knife-kun.
I honestly don't remember how he got there.
I'm pretty sure he was reading a book in the library and he starts reading about the Shield Hero. And then there's, the gold flashy light of like, and then he wakes up face down, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, surrounded by the other 3 heroes who are, talking smack.
Yeah, I think so.
This also might be a first. It looks like this is already put together and we just have to take the plastic off. I've never had a figure like that before. That's really interesting. So, plastic. Plastic.
I feel like there are some times that they could just get away with doing that, but they never do. They make you put them together.
It's so we can feel accomplished at the end of the day. struggle. That's my burb. And all for glory, and I don't have to put it together. Can we just appreciate that for a minute? I don't have to call you in and be like, Jeremy, put it in the hole.
Yeah. I can zoom in.
Mada. So I will say that, we are getting a panty shot back here, so maybe don't turn her all the way around, but it's very
demonetized.
true to the character. It looks like she's about to jump off the rock, which is something she does all the time in the show, to skip and run around, because they add to her speed skill.
Yeah.
She's
already supposed to be really fast because of what she is. She's basically not off-brand Chocobo.
She's very elegant, too. I like that her hair is flowing and her hands are kind of thrown out to the side because it betrays movement.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, her hair is nicely sculpted. It's kind of this weird, like, if you were to make... Jeremy, that is not, in fact, the figure we are talking about. Like, a bubble gum that was banana flavored, that's kind of her hair color. I feel like in the show, her hair is a bit brighter of a yellow.
Yeah.
And that would be my only real complaint in terms of...
This looks more like textured. Then I feel like if they made it too bright yellow, it would have looked really extra fake.
Yeah, but it's paler in the front, interestingly enough. It's like shinier, and it looks almost more like neon. And then in the back, it kind of covering for protection purposes.
I really don't think you have to worry about it.
Shh, sweet people. It's not quite the same shade. The base is pretty basic, though. I will say, I feel like they put a lot of like detail into her face, and then as they started to like move down the figure, less detail. Because like, I mean, you could tell that's a rock. You can tell it's supposed to be grass. Very short grass. But it doesn't have the level of detail that her dress, which reminds me of Alice in Wonderland, honestly.
Yeah.
Has.
They had a whole plot with the dress where they had to like get the right what was it?
Materials for when she shifts. And I feel like her wings are slightly too small, but I think all in all, like design-wise, it's okay. It's more basic, but I really do feel like the focus was put on her face and the dress, and then the wings got a little less love.
Yeah.
But I'm still happy with my burb, who's going to make fun of you and eat all your food. But you're not going to like that. I don't mind if she eats all your food.
Oh, my food specifically.
Yeah, specifically all of your food. She can't have my food because, you know, I'm me and I'm what
Anybody who is watching, let us know if the microphone's peaking a little bit, because it looks like it's peaking for my settings, but I am unable to tell.
What do you think, Jeremy? Do you have anything to say about my burb figure?
Doesn't sound like speaking. Okay. I like the outfit. I think the outfit is well sculpted. I think the face has a good expression on it. The eyes look a little static. They look kind of like PNG-like, where they're just kind of like pasted on there as stickers.
Au contraire. They're actually googly eyes.
Yes. But I think the body sculpt is nice in terms of like the clothes. And the bow is really nice. And I think color-wise, it's really nice. It also is really nice that it's one piece. You can literally like hold it sideways and it doesn't fall off. It's not even like, you can't even take it off. So it's actually one piece, which is nice.
I was very pleasantly surprised to find that it was one piece. Because usually, even with figures that don't come in many pieces, you have to maybe swap a face out if it comes with like more than one face and you want the alternate face, or at least stick it into a peg.
Yeah.
I've never had a figure like this before. And I really do, more than anything, I like the shape of it. Like, I feel like I like the movement. I like how it flows. I think it works really well. And I'm happy with my burb, who has now joined the collection. I don't know where we're going to put her, though. We're running out of spots.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we can't really feature the... originally, we kind of had a setup where there was certain features, certain figures that we wanted to feature because they were, like, the nicer ones. But now we're starting to... like, your collection is growing of nicer figures, so it's kind of hard to spotlight all of them. So, like, some of them keep getting moved to different places. So like right now we have Hestia back here. We have the new Rem figure. We have the old Rem figure. I mean, we don't have a choice with that one because that one can't fit anywhere.
Same with Toru.
Same with Toru.
She's way too
Toru
tall.
has to stay there because Toru is the tallest figure that we have. Toru's like almost as tall as Elaine when she's sitting down. When she's sitting on the table. So
I mean, she doesn't even come up all the way to her legs.
yeah.
So join the family.
But
Welcome,
they're
Felix.
all this is a weird family here. It's a blended family. I mean, I guess Anya's adopted in the show too, so Toru adopted her. But all right, so moving on beyond that, I'm gonna move this forward over to here.
Bunny butt.
Yeah, bunny butt. That one you'll show, but you won't show the other thing.
Those are panties. She is clothed. Clothed.
I am going to open something that I've been waiting for months because I didn't realize when I ordered it that the pre-order period for Gamersupps is 16 weeks plus.
So over 4 months for all you people who don't want to math right now.
Yeah. So I ordered this in October because I am a fan of Mr. Gigi. And he was doing a October release Gamersupps thing. And it spoke to me, so I wanted it. And also to support Mr. Gigi. And then I realized it was going to be 16 weeks. And I'm like, I'm not supporting that again. But maybe there are products that are immediate release ones. I also have some sample packs, which I guess I can't really make them right now unless I just go in the other room to make them while we're streaming. But
yeah, well, we got snacks, so maybe you can make it and we could start that snack with that while I talk. I can English. I swear I can English good.
Promotional thing. It has directions on the back, which is good. Has a little sticker of the design that I got, the Mr. Gigi design. I'll open the sample packs in a minute. But yeah, we're going to open this. I think this glows in the dark, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like it's not dark enough for us to test that, even if we turned off all the lights.
Yeah, which I'm not going to do. So, here's my Mr. Gigi shaker. Oh. It is the design for Halloween. So it's like a spirit person kind of being possessed or whatever, because he was doing a lot of stuff where he was talking about possession shows and whatnot. It's a good quality shaker. I definitely feel like it glows because I can see like all the little specks in the material.
The little speck glows.
And it's got that to kind of, instead of having like a little ball inside, it has that where you can shake it through.
I feel like it's always hard to clean the ball too, so I kind of like that idea as a design.
And then we have these sample packs. I don't remember what they were offering.
We'll find out now with all of you.
Oh, they gave me a cup. I didn't realize each one of these has...
That one looks
one
like
has
an
4.
avocado from here.
An
I think it has an
avocado.
avocado on it.
Thanks.
I think it's interesting that they put it in like an envelope.
Yeah. All right. So we got Guacamole Gamer Fart 9000.
So I'm not crazy. There were, in fact, avocados.
We got Clyde's Black Cherry.
You do like
Clyde,
that.
Clyde, the one who does stuff on like power scaling videos, like DBZ. We got Lemonade.
I wonder what that one tastes like, Jeremy.
Yeah, maybe it tastes like oranges.
The souls of the innocent.
Yeah, or oranges.
Or the souls of the
We
innocent.
have more guacamole, which is probably the one I'm least excited to try. There is barely YouTube friendly peach. Another Clyde. Oh, and we got Blowhole Blast for what's her name?
Shy Lily?
Shy Lily. Yeah. Oh, it says it right there. I could have just read it. I'm excited for that. Actually, what flavor is that? It doesn't say. It's the flavor of blowholes, whatever that smells and tastes like. Probably fishy.
Probably fishy.
Yeah, I kind of want to try Let's do the blowhole blast. That's we'll do the one that people will care about. I will go make this while you move on to something else. I think this is a good design, though. I like the design. It's a good quality shaker, and that's really what matters. It'll gather light, and then we'll get to see later if it glows.
While Jeremy is quickly making that thing, before I too enjoy drinks and snacks, I'm just going to talk about some anime from this season. Since, we've been opening some anime figures, I feel like I'm kind of on brand right now. As you know, Jeremy was not a fan of most of the things we watched this season, of which we have watched 9 different things. And we also intend to continue some anime that we started last season that didn't quite end off last season. There was like a 2-part season, so they spanned 2. One of those animes that Jeremy did not enjoy was Headhunted to Another World, which he called all the boring bits of Overlord. I am currently caught up on this show and have finally learned that the demon girl's name is Ulmandra and not Ulandra, because that's what I was hearing the whole time. It essentially continued the trend from the first few episodes that we saw of this season. Our overseas manager continues to manage things for the Demon King's army. He's continued to expand their holdings and has spent a lot of time trying to solve various problems that come up, like short supplies of food and things of that nature. And he uses his business acumen from the other world to help him solve problems in this world. So in that sense, nothing has changed, except suddenly the other generals are starting to respect him more and more, and Ulmandra seems to have a thing for him, which may or may not entirely be caused by him not understanding cultural differences between demons and humans. So Ulmandra, when she receives certain items or sees certain actions take place, assumes that he is trying to propose to her. And it's like, oh my God, he proposed and we're going to go on dates and all this stuff. And then he doesn't see things this way. So I'm wondering if it's more of a, hey, I respect you now and I like you as a person, but I'm also like really getting into this whole feeling of someone being interested in me and now I'm interested in you, or if she genuinely likes him. To me, it doesn't feel like she genuinely likes him that way, because I don't think that sort of emotion or those feelings come naturally to her. I'm not sure they really come naturally to any demons, although I haven't seen enough of the demons in this realm to know for sure. Secondly, I think that it's just too soon. She doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would develop those kinds of feelings so quickly, and I think that her fiery temper will also keep things from progressing too far. I think this is more of a cultural misunderstanding than actual interest. Now you're back with drink.
Yeah, the boring part's over. I'm back now.
That was rude.
I made this with, it looks like, I think like 15 ounces of water. A little over 17 ounces of water. But I think I was only supposed to put in less than that. But I didn't bring the directions with me, so it's okay. Actually, this is saying you're supposed to have, add 1 scoop for 8 ounces of cold water. Oh. So it would have to be 2. Oh, well.
Jeremy can't math.
Whatever, okay. Well, we're going to taste it. Oh, I don't like that at all.
Why?
I smelled it and I didn't think I was going to like it.
It smells like cotton candy on steroids.
It tastes like blue raspberry tropical cotton candy, which is way too many flavors.
Well, cotton candy's just sugar. It's been spun to make it cottony.
Look, now her outfit's blue.
Show the people.
It's nice. I actually do. I like the color of that one. I don't know if I want to drink something with that much dye in it, but I do like the color.
It looks like the stuff that you put hair brushes and hair combs in.
I feel like that's normally a little darker. That's more like a Windex color.
That's true.
But
Did you want to try?
yeah, okay. got a weird bitter aftertaste
Yeah.
too.
Well, I mean, it tastes very artificial, but like, I mean, they're all gonna, I would imagine, taste pretty artificial.
The artificial gods have cursed you.
What is the next thing that we're doing?
Well, you're going to talk to the people while I grab some snacks.
Oh yeah, you were talking about the boring anime. So yeah, Elaine kept watching that one. I didn't watch it. I haven't really kept up with any of the seasonal anime outside of what we've watched together. I think my favorite one right now is Sakamoto Days. That's the anime that I like more than any of the others.
Artificial gods.
But I think that if I was gonna continue one of them that I didn't continue, it was probably Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. It's probably the one that I was most likely to continue out of the other ones. What other ones did we watch? I hated the Kunoichi one. I didn't. Guild Receptionist I probably could have put up with, depending on how she was in the next couple of episodes. I didn't like Kunoichi. I found that one boring. Zenshu was interesting enough, but if they were just going to do the same animation during every fight, I would not have been able to deal with that. And Sakamoto, we're watching actively. I was watching Shangri-La Frontier. Is that still airing, or is that from last season?
I think it's airing in this season too, but I could be wrong.
And then Danmachi and ReZero whenever that decides to come back.
And then we're going to start the Apothecary Diaries. We
Yes.
also expressed some interest in continue. So anyway, I'm falling in love with you.
Yeah. That one was okay. What I did watch recently, which is not recent, was I watched the first couple episodes of Kakegurui Twins.
That's from 2022. I think.
Kakegurui Twin. Yeah, it's on Netflix, and I was watching that. I like the original Kakegurui series, and this one basically is just more of the same. So if you like the original, you like this one. Different main character. 2 female main characters. No male main characters.
We don't like men here.
No.
We threw them out. It's 2025. It's women's time now.
I mean, he was the worst part of the original series. Nobody would want to watch him.
Oh. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch the original series.
But, okay, what snacks you got?
So, do you want to start with a snack or a drink?
I mean, I have a drink. I have
So-
2 drinks.
I have a lot of options, most of which are potatoes. So we got chipping in and giving back community snacks, sweet Maui onion, kettle cooked potato chips. They are non-GMO verified, gluten-free, kosher, and nut-free. We've got
Just scrape them on the table.
bowl and basket, limited edition, wavy potato chips, turkey and stuffing flavored. Ooh. I feel like these are going to be really good or really bad, or they might just taste like pepper. We'll have to find out. DJ&A potato wedges, ready to eat snack, sweet chili. Lil Nitro, the world's hottest gummy bear. If we
Oh, I
feel
don't
like
know about
punishing
that.
anyone. Some seasonal almonds, limited edition blue diamond peppermint cocoa.
Peppermint cocoa.
And
Not expired. Hey, it's a point for us.
wow. Strawberry Kit Kats from, I believe, the Japanese line. I could be mistaken.
Okay.
And then I have drinks.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll crack open my own drink.
Do you want to grab a pair of scissors so we don't have to struggle with the bags and make a ton of noise?
People like the ASMR.
No, I don't think they would. I mean, I guess I can open it down here. That's not too bad. All right, I was able to open the stuffing ones. So, this is Bowl and Basket limited edition wavy potato chips, turkey, and stuffing. I don't like the smell of that.
Smells like death in a potato chip.
I mean, it certainly tastes like turkey and stuffing. I don't know how many of these I could eat, but
I feel like they captured that like roasted taste of a turkey and then added some pepper and salt to it. I don't ever have enough stuffing to know what stuffing tastes like.
I think it tastes like what it says it tastes like, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's something that I want to eat a lot of. But if you like the taste of stuffing and turkey and you think you can eat it in chip form, that is that. So
I'm feeling left out, so I'm going to have a drink. It's the herbal sparkling water Ora Bora Ginger Meyer Lemon. Flavored sparkling water with real ginger extract. Hello, world, from the land to your hand. Meet Ora Bora. Our sparkling waters are made with herbs, fruits, and flowers for earthly tastes and heavenly feelings. I bathe in lemons and climb spicy ginger trees that have stripes like me. It's a weird marketing decision.
Scissors.
That tastes almost entirely like dead ginger and sadness. You mainly taste the seltzer. You don't taste
Mainly taste the sadness.
the sadness that is seltzer. But it's got nothing in it. Did you want to sip?
Sure, I'll try it. I do not think I'll like it. Ginger Meyer Lemon.
I feel like ginger and lemon are a good combination too.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. Yeah, just all you really taste is the
Seltzer water.
the seltzer water with a hint of the sourness of the lemon without the actual lemon flavor and like that bitterness that ginger has. So it took the two flavors that it could have and took the worst parts of them. Ooh.
Are you okay, bro?
Yeah. These are strawberry Kit Kat.
Look how pretty pink these are. Do you think they're going to melt in our hands, Jeremy?
No, because I'm not going to touch them.
Oh.
They're sakura blossom colored. They really smell like strawberry too.
Mm.
And they even have specks, if you look really close, of like strawberry seeds. So that's interesting.
I don't know if I like this.
It's weird. I feel like it starts off mellow with kind of like a white chocolate sort of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And then progressively gets like synthetic strawberry with a strong synthetic strawberry finish.
Mm-mm.
With a little bit of wafer crunch thrown in.
Yeah, the strawberry is very artificial tasting, which is not great. I feel like usually the extra flavors of Kit Kat are usually pretty good. This one, I do not approve of this one very much.
I feel like as a household, we were also torn on the milk tea one we had.
Yeah, because it had a weird flavor to it, where it wasn't strong enough to really kind of carry it. Sweet Maui onion.
I feel like the first thing you get is salt. Just like the taste of salt. And then you kind of start to taste onion, and then it almost tastes like barbecue to me.
The onion flavor.
Like, my brain is confused. You tell me it's a certain flavor, but I don't really get that flavor.
I wouldn't go out of my way to have those. Yeah, we're not doing very well today. There's almost any other type of onion-related chip is better than that.
What is the worst potato chip you've ever had?
I don't know. There was one that we did, like, one of our longer taste test videos that was a bad chip, and I can't remember what it was.
I feel like it was the oyster or the crawfish.
Oh, yeah, probably.
One of those.
And these are potato wedges.
Yeah.
Plant-based potato wedges.
I just want to point out the really pretty paper crane on the back of the packaging. That's a nice touch. Now I have like little bits of potatoes chips stuck in my teeth.
These are special potatoes because they're plant-based potatoes, as opposed to all of the animal-based potatoes that are out there. These are not animal potatoes; they're plant potatoes.
They got a nice cross section of spice, getting it all over my fingies.
It tastes pretty good. It's got a decent potato wedge flavor to it. It's not very spicy, which they're definitely implying that's supposed to be spicy.
I'm not getting like any of the seasoning.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a lot of spice to it. But the general concept behind them being potato wedges, they look like just like bog standard potato wedges. And they have more of a crunch to them than potato wedges because they're like...
Freeze dried?
Yeah. They're freeze dried?
Yeah.
No, they're deep fried.
Deep fried?
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
Oh, no. Unlike the standard deep frying process, our superior cooking process uses lower temperature to preserve the natural potato goodness and delicious taste.
I keep trying to like cleanse my mouth out with this, and it's just like every time I drink it, I get a little more sad. You know?
Wait, there's no potatoes in. Oh no, it says may contain. I was about to say may contain, and then I listed off all these things. It was like there's no potatoes listed. No, potatoes the number one ingredient. Okay. Ooh, some of that maltodextrin. That's where the real flavor's coming from.
Funny, at first when I was eating it, it reminded me of when I used to have those like freeze-dried apple slices.
Mm.
But then it starts like the texture changes and it really starts being like, oh yeah, I'm eating a potato, but it's just like empty, sad potato that doesn't taste like anything.
I think it's fine.
They're nothing special.
This is potato, but it tastes like their superior cooking process. Really comes through.
I'm going to try this drink just to see if I can get a good flavor in my mouth to wash down the other bad flavors. So this is Muse, 5 grams of sugar, 25 calories, inspired soda, black cherry with other natural flavors. So there's, carbonated water, pear juice, concentrate, organic cane sugar. You don't see cane sugar in drinks much anymore. Citric acid.
Because of big fructose.
Veggie juice, stevia, and a bunch of other crap I can't pronounce. You like black cherry, right?
Yeah.
I love like cracking a can open. It's such like a satisfying sound.
Where were those other little things? Didn't you have other little things that you were going to open?
No.
You had a handful of little things before.
This tastes like if you carbonated cherry cough syrup.
That sounds like I'm not going to like it.
Am I crazy though? Like taste it.
Kinda. It's not really that bad. It tastes like black cherry soda, not black cherry cola, just when you just get the black cherry soda. And I never was a huge fan, but they weren't bad.
So we have like 0 things we've tried and we have 1 item left to save the day, and they're almonds.
Unlikely to do a lot of legwork in saving the day, I think.
I mean, I don't dislike almonds. They're healthy. They're a great snack, easy to grab, easy to just eat on the go. But at the end of the day, they're also just almonds, you know? Like, you don't get excited about almonds. It's not like berries and cream or like gelato or something. Jeremy ran away and left me again. Jeremy, he's making fun of me. He's like, you're a big, strong woman. Open the almonds. And I'm like, that's not the point. You're making me do the heavy lifting for this stream, Jeremy. Oh, they really do smell like cocoa. They got the cocoa smell down pretty well. I don't get peppermint. Just cocoa. And like that, like faint almond smell that almonds have. when you first bite into them, they don't taste like anything and they're kind of chewy. I guess because the outside made like a bit of a crust that you have to work through. And then they just taste distinctly like chocolate. Not like cocoa, because I feel like cocoa, at least when you get it in this country, is very sugary. So you don't really get that much chocolate flavor. You get like sugar with a little chocolate thrown in. But this is chocolate, which I feel like, you know, we people, that's very poor English, which I feel like we're not accustomed to. Jeremy's grabbing all the things.
Yeah. I think.
He thinks.
I think.
He thinks. You made the table
Therefore,
shake.
I am.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's just a generic chocolate flavor. I don't really. It's supposed to be peppermint also.
Yeah, I didn't get any peppermint.
I didn't get any peppermint.
There was no peppermint in this peppermint cocoa. I couldn't smell it, couldn't taste it.
No.
He couldn't taste it or smell it. But in all, like, we've had some very bad flavored almonds before. We've tried a bunch of flavored almonds on this channel, and these aren't the worst, but they're definitely not the best. I think our favorite might have been the Snickerdoodle, which we did for the previous Christmas. But
Yeah, I did like the Snickerdoodle ones. All right, so I'm not doing. Oh no. Options are. I figured we could talk about some of the manga that we're reading.
so Jeremy was saying we can talk about some manga. I will do that after I give a brief update on Welcome to Japan myself. Jeremy feared that it wasn't a real reverse isekai, but was in fact only an isekai and the title was a scam. Having caught up, I have learned that it is not, in fact, a scam. It is a reverse isekai with regular isekai elements because they go back to the dream world, other world, for lack of a better phrase. The following episode after where me and Jeremy left off was basically entirely in the other world. Or in Japan, rather. And they actually go to the library, and I was like, oh, I understand the library because they wanted to get Marie some books to help her learn Japanese. The thing I didn't like about that was they were like, oh, we'll get her some children's books to have her learn Japanese, and they go to check out the books. And our boy introduces her as like a distant relative coming to visit. And this librarian is like an old friend of his, I guess. I guess he used to frequent the library, and makes a comment about how pretty she is and how she finds it strange that they haven't gotten together. And I'm like, he just introduced her as a relative, and now you're asking about dating. What in the Alabama?
Anime.
Sorry, Alabama, but like Jeremy just says that's anime. I know technically it's okay because they're not related, but you know, if someone introduces you that way, I think it's weird. And that's a thread that continued through the rest of the few episodes I watched, which did fluctuate pretty evenly between Japan and the other world. I will say that it continued its generally sweet tone and the friendly banter between them and those sorts of things, and also tried to expand Marie's relations in Japan so it wasn't just her with the main character all the time. And I did like that. I think that what was rough was that it had been so long since I watched it with Jeremy that I didn't remember where the last episode left off, and I was kind of caught off guard. But other than that, still remains good, still remain happy, and I didn't have to wait on him to watch it, which is the best part.
Wait on me to watch it.
Wait on him to watch it. He's protesting. Don't listen to him. Now, and by we I mean me being an avid reader, can't always afford to buy all the books I want to read because books are expensive. So Jeremy and I went to the library so we could get some reading material, and we just kind of scrounged around for whatever we could find. I've already read a handful of the things we've picked up. There will be full reviews forthcoming at some point. But One of the ones I read was the first two of The Girl from the Other Side, which is basically like there's the insiders, which are basically humans, and the outsiders, which are monsters that are cursed and can spread the curse to anyone they touch. So these two groups don't live together, they don't mingle with each other, and the humans especially hate the outsiders and fear them. But for whatever reason, I'm not going to spoil it because it is revealed in the first manga.
Volume.
Yes, that. There's this little girl living in the outside with Teacher, which is the big demon boy here. And it kind of explores their relationship and the meaning behind it and those sorts of things. And it's a lot of stuff about like xenophobia and fears of things that you don't understand or don't know, and just being unwilling to broaden your horizons and get to know other people because of what you've been told before. And the first thing I said to Lakota once I read them was, thank goodness I didn't buy them. Each of them didn't even take me an hour each, and I would have been very upset if I spent $15 on a book and I read it in less than an hour. I'll get into more details in my full-length reviews, but the other thing that I had a really hard time with is just the art is a lot of stuff like this where it's just very dark and hard to make out. And it reminded me of, you know, like when you would go to your grandmother's house and she had her, or at least I went to my grandmother's house, she had a desk, like a writing desk.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
And she had all these like fancy pens, but I could never use them. They were like the really runny, finicky kind. So if you didn't use them perfectly.
Gel pens? I like gel pens.
No, not gel pens. Like the runny pens that just made messes if you didn't use them properly. That's what it made me think of. But we'll talk more about it later.
Yeah, it's very thick line work. You know, this actually reminds me of a lot of the ones that I was reading for my graphic narrative class. So like, what is the guy's name?
Eisner?
Yeah, Eisner. Wrote.
Not the Disney one, a different one.
Yeah, different one. He wrote.
Will Eisner?
Yes. Will Eisner wrote Contract with God. And I read that for my graphic narrative class. And that was very like heavy ink line work, very like symbolic, where I was using a lot of heavy blacks to outline stuff. And this is very reminiscent of that style if I was going to compare it to something. Not my favorite style.
No, I honestly thought it detracted from the story.
I can see why some people go with this. They're going for a certain like aesthetic that they're looking for, and a mood that they're trying to set. And Eisner was very good at that. He was very good at making it look very runny and making the heavy blacks and making the shading matter for the artwork. And this seems like it's like that too, because you know the main it's the main bad thing.
Well, the monster isn't bad.
He's
it's actually the girl's guardian.
Business suit. Well, the guardian guy, he's just all shadow for the most part. So it's kind of interesting when they show him with a very black background, but they still make him stand out, which is kind of cool. You're not even doing it with the pen marks. You're doing it with white space. So expert use of white space is impressive when you're in a limited medium like this, where it's just the two colors.
Okay, nerd.
But so we have some other ones. You started some of them.
I've completed some of them.
You finished.
I finished these two.
Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You.
Which was actually a lot more enjoyable than I thought it would be, because the premise is pretty bland. Basically, there's this 45-year-old office worker. It's always an office worker or a salaryman. I guess they're the same thing, really.
But being 45 is kind of cool. That makes me more appreciate the storytelling, because it's like an older protagonist.
Likes this girl at the supermarket.
You're just like, continued. No response.
No, it's true, because we don't see a lot of manga that has anyone remotely close to our age bracket as a main character. It's teenagers and 20-somethings, and we are not either of those things.
Yeah. And
contrary to popular belief.
I can appreciate that in anime, and I think there's a little part of me when I watch a lot of anime now that's like, you loud kids just like banging into stuff, making noise. I see some more protagonists that are like, hey, I'm like 36, I'm 39, I'm 46. Like, we're dealing with real life problems, and then a thing happens.
Well, like Headhunted had an older protagonist.
But that was boring.
Shield Hero, I think. The Shield Hero was a little older.
Was he, though?
Or was it we thought he was older, but he wasn't? I can't remember if he was actually older. We just thought he was older.
I honestly don't remember how old the Shield Hero is. I'll look it up.
But so we like that aspect of this. But like when you first read it or the synopsis, it's essentially two people decide to smoke together behind a supermarket and they talk to each other, which in the grand scheme of things does not sound interesting. But it manages to be, and I think part of the appeal of something like this is how...
He's 20.
Oh, excuse me. But he looks older. He does look older. Real and natural.
That's just him being tired.
These conversations are and how you can see it happening. And I'll talk about that more when I do the full review, which I have written but not recorded yet.
Philo's age is listed as less than 1.
Well, yeah, she hatched from an egg, man. Spoilers.
What? She's a bird.
Yeah, she hatched from an egg.
Yeah.
I just said that.
That's not a spoiler. Birds come from eggs. That's where they come from.
Well, maybe the people didn't know she was a bird that hatched from an egg.
But yeah, so this looks interesting. I'm planning on reading this. We're planning on reading these together. I don't think I'm gonna read this one, but just from looking at it, I don't think I'm gonna read the other side one because I don't really like as much as I just talked about how amazing it is to do certain things with that medium, with all the shadows and all that stuff. I don't like it. So this seems interesting though. I like the design of the love interest, I guess.
No.
The friend interest, the smoker. I like how the side, I don't know if this is an organizational thing for the library. Is it? Yeah. So they have like a shortening version of the title on the side. And it says like girl, volume 1. This one says smoking. It just says smoking, no volume, nothing. It's like a content warning. There's smoking in this.
Oh no.
So I'm going to flip through. I'll pick them in order. Actually, no, this one's fine. So this one is one I was kind of interested in for a romantic aspect. It's also has some stuff in color, which is kind of nice. Not very much, but there's some stuff in color. And it's just a nice traditional manga art style, I feel. It is called Wotakoi. Love is Hard for Otaku, Volume 1 by Fujita. No last name, like Bono or Cher. And it's just like it looks like a romance thing. Like the back says Narumi Momosi has had it rough. Every boyfriend she's had dumped her once they found out she was an otaku. Because nobody likes girls that are into anime. That is unrealistic, apparently. So she's gone to great lengths to hide it. When a chance meeting at her new job with childhood friend, fellow otaku, and now coworker, Hirotaka Nafuji, almost gets her secret outed at work, she comes up with a plan to make sure he never speaks up. But he comes up with a counter proposal. Why doesn't she just date him instead? In love, there are no save points.
I see what they did there.
Is Japan ashamed of anime? It seems like they're ashamed of anime.
But they also
make so
push
much
anime.
of it. Yeah, because they're like, people buy this stuff. And other countries buy it. Come, America, give us money. Daddy America, give us money. But it seems like they always frame it like, oh, if you're into anime, you're a loser. You're a NEET. You're an otaku. You're a hikikomori. You have no life because you like anime in every storyline. So I don't know if it's just because all these storylines are based off of, prior to the Marvel Cinematic Universe where everybody's into nerd stuff now, or what it is, but they seemed very ashamed of anime.
Keep talking. I'm looking for
Well, you took my visual aid.
publishing details. Okay. First published in Japan in 2015, 2016 by Ichi Jinsha Inc. Tokyo.
Hey, that's not Fujita.
No, it's over here. Another one. Volume 1, copyright 2015 to 2016.
Yeah,
English
so
translation, copyright 2018.
I didn't actually think that they were written before the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm just saying it seems like they're talking about a world prior to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel like once that hit, everybody's into nerd stuff now. Like San Diego Comic-Con is mainstream, and people like well-known actors and actresses do cosplay now, and every streamer's into anime. Even if they don't actually watch anime, they want to pretend that they do because it's cool. So I feel like it's just weird that they always frame it as, oh, I watch anime and play video games. I am weird and an outcast and nobody wants to date me.
Well, I mean, no one wants to date me, and I like anime and nerd stuff.
I got you into a lot of your anime nerd stuff, though.
See,
Elaine was not an anime watcher prior to our relationship, and now she does nothing but watch anime in her free time.
So before I started dating you in general, I basically didn't watch television. I just read stuff. So I read manga. Like my first manga was Tokyo Mew Mew, and then I think it was Chobits was the second one I read. And then I did Shugo Karo was one of the first anime I watched, other than Sailor Moon, which was,
the fact that you could basically count on one hand the amount of anime you watched prior to our relationship shows how little anime you watched prior to our relationship.
Because I read stuff. See, Jeremy, we're different.
It would take me a while. It would take me a while to go through. I actually used to read too, but then I was like, that takes a lot of time. It's easier to listen to it and only get 50% of what I'm listening to, and then I can re-listen to the story because I can get all the bits. But see, there's some colored parts in this, but it's still basically the same artwork. It's slightly different artwork. I feel like when it's in the color, it's a little softer in the line work. Like it doesn't look. If you had this art style and the colored art style next to each other with different characters, like you didn't know it was the same thing, would you say that this was the same manga?
Not necessarily. I think the shapes are similar enough where you might be able to guess that they're from the same illustrator.
Like if it was multiple choice, then you'd be like, okay, yeah, those two are the ones that are the same manga. But I feel like if you just independent of each other, just looked at this set of panels and this set of panels, you would not realize that it was the same book. Because they definitely they didn't just color in the black and white. Is kind of what I'm striving at.
But I think with black and white, you do different things for texture. Like the faces, when they're colored, look a little flatter to me because of how you do like definition in black and white, which you wouldn't necessarily do in color because you're using different colors to create definition and therefore don't have to create the line.
Oh, he did the thing where he stuck his hand on the wall and stopped her from moving. He was like, hey.
You shall not pass.
So moving beyond that one, you started that one. You were reading the volume 1. But the Water Dragon's Bride, I don't know if I'll read this. But
I don't think you'll like it. I think it's aimed at young women.
It looks like this is a
by that I
book for
mean girls.
5-year-olds.
So I started reading this morning, and
Too many words for a 5-year-old.
the premise is this girl is just living with her family when one day water steals her. We're reading a lot of stuff with sketchy water lately. So water steals her, and she wakes up in this world, appears in this world that she doesn't find familiar, this area she doesn't find familiar. And she starts panicking and looking for her parents and crying because, she's a little girl who doesn't have her parents anymore. And she's found by 2 children, one of which is afraid of her because she looks a little different because of her bright hair color. And one who is not afraid of her and it's just like, she misses her parents. She's scared. Let's take her home. So the 2 kids take her home, and then their parents reluctantly take her in and pretend that she's their daughter just until they can find her actual parents. And then one day, the mom gets the bright idea to sacrifice this girl to the water dragon god and make her his bride in the hopes that her family will continue to be prosperous and that their village will continue to thrive. And the son is not very happy with this because he liked her. I guess just at this point as friends because they're small children. And it's the story
It's anime.
of... I guess I have to think about Kana and that other girl, but anyway. He vows revenge. And then she goes off to live with this dragon god who finds this all very amusing. And that's all I got. That was basically chapter 1. I guess I'll finish it and see if I decide to go any further than that. And eventually I'll give it my full thoughts. But, yeah. I don't even know why I picked this one up, to be honest.
I don't know why either.
It's for teens, apparently.
Those are older than 5-year-olds. It's got penguins.
It's got penguins. Yeah, it's just one of those zany little manga where they throw a bunch of stuff in it. Even the stuff on the back seems zany. I don't know. I kind of like her outfit. She looks like a little demon girl. I don't have much more to say than that. Wow.
So, we just saw something not very YouTube friendly, though relevant to the Philo figure that we were unboxing before.
Callback.
So
that's one I found on the internet and was going to eventually buy for Jeremy.
What is this? What is this Skate the Infinity shit that's going on right here?
And suggested it for him because we saw it there. There are a few other things that I was thinking of getting you to at the library, and you were like, I wouldn't read that. I was like, oh, okay.
This looks interesting. What is the premise behind this? It's got a fancy J in the front.
Fancy J.
Japan has been invaded by gods, and they've left nothing but death and destruction in their wake. I can't read, apparently. With entire cities now classified as uninhabitable danger zones, researcher, long Japanese name, is determined to find a way to take down the gods and save humanity. When chance leads him to high school or other long Japanese name, this one feminine, the two just may end up changing the fate of the world forever. Desperate for answers about her friend's disappearance, Waka, which is the second Japanese name, breaches the Tokyo danger zone in search of clues. Instead, she finds Tokunaga, a researcher with Anti-God Scientific Research Institute. While Waka tries to decide if she should trust Tokinga, he quickly realizes Waka is hiding a dangerous secret of her own. One that may just be the key to killing off the gods once and for all. We're going to kill some gods. God killer. And the sequel to this is God is Not Dead. And that's where that movie franchise came from. This was the prequel.
Oh.
Yeah, Kevin Sorbo's not in this one.
Oh.
The rumors were true. You really are a god. Page 1. You're beautiful. This is interesting.
It's true.
So is each of the chapters like a different god?
I don't know like anything about this because it was actually surprisingly hard to find online until I went to Amazon. So I just heard it was good and was like, Jeremy would like that.
Got some kind of effed up stuff in it.
Well, you like effed up things, so, you know.
Oh, so this will be interesting. I like this. I think this is a good concept. Is this the second one of that? No. Okay. This is Heavenly Delusion, which we had we had seen I think it was a Mother's Basement video on the anime adaptation at one point. And he was complaining how it wasn't marketed very well, and I think it was on Disney. That was another complaint. And they were marketing it as Heavenly Delusion rather than its Japanese name or something. Or they were marketing it as its Japanese name and nobody knew that because everybody knows it as Heavenly Delusion.
Because we American.
America. But yeah, this is supposed to be a good anime. It's about a colliding worlds filled with unique horrors. Wow. Yeah, it's like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing. But it seems kind of interesting. I heard it was fun. We have the first 2 volumes. So
courtesy of the library.
and then I And then I grabbed Vinland Saga,
which is a thick book.
It's a thickums. Everyone says that this is good, so we're gonna start with the manga before I start watching the anime.
I think it's only 2 seasons anime.
Yeah, so 2 seasons, probably like I don't know, 8 volumes. But I think it continues. I don't think the 2 seasons are just the end of it.
No, I don't either.
I think it's just had 2 seasons so far. But so Vinland Saga, it's about Vikings. That's all I know about it. But Viking stuff's popular.
Viking the manga.
And then you had that one over there, which I can't reach.
So this one I pre-ordered a while ago when I found it on Crunchyroll. And it looked cool. It sounded cool. Basically, there's a world where human rights aren't guaranteed, and if you don't have any rights, you're a Mujina, where you're not protected from the law or by the law, and you can do whatever. Sounds interesting as a concept, but I feel like, and I'll talk about this in a review because I've wrote one for this one too.
Just not filmed.
The author, Inio Asano, who also did A Girl on the Shore, just, for frame of reference, forgot there was supposed to be a story involved in this one, so a lot of the beginning is just violence, like people fighting and assassination attempts and assassinations. And then we have these little stretches where the author talks about this world a little bit and develops the idea of the Mujina and how they don't have rights and whether or not people think they should have rights or be heard or be seen, if they should be eradicated. And then it goes back to just more shock value stuff with gory, violent fight scenes and crime and people with questionable morals. And I found myself very frustrated by this volume, which I think had a good concept but was not carried out or executed very well. I think it depended too much on shock value and not enough on substance. And that bothered me. And spoilers, I won't be reading anymore. Maybe you'll get more out of it than me, but I doubt it. So that's what that was. A disappointment, Jeremy.
Disappointment. We don't.
I'm not even angry. I'm disappointed, which is worse.
That is worse.
So.
Yes.
Are you going to complain about an anime now?
Do you want me to complain about an anime?
I don't know. It seems like you want to complain about an anime.
I mean, not one in particular, I guess. What are our updated thoughts on Danmachi?
I still think that as an idea, I'm fine with the concept of this season. Like as a show, as a story, I'm fine with it within the context of the longer running anime and the composition as a whole. I don't think it makes any sense.
I think it's fine.
I still feel it was unnecessarily convoluted. I feel like it kind of came out of left field. And from that standpoint, I don't like it. But in terms of entertainment, like I'm enjoying the season as a whole.
Yeah. I do think the general issue of this season kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere. They were building a little bit towards it, I guess. It was kind of in the background of the whole show since the beginning. But it just kind of happened so fast where it all of a sudden became a big problem immediately. And I don't really want to, I feel like there's no way to talk about it unless you're going to go into spoilers, because you kind of have to spoil the first 4 seasons of the show in order to talk about the foundation of this season in particular. Though this is season 5 out of a several season show. So the understanding would be you kind of have to have a foundation of knowledge to, consume this content at this point. I'm going to put this book up. When I put this book down, we're not going to be talking about spoilers anymore. So here, because I don't have a little sign that I can put up that says spoilers. I did at one point, but I don't anymore because I wiped my computer. So I'm putting this book up. When the book goes down, no more spoilers. So in this season, we get the culmination of the whole thing with Freya being obsessed with Belle, which I don't think has enough backing behind it in order to be the foundation of the season, though I do understand that it was there. And the whole reason is like him being descended from Zeus and that having something to do with aura and whatever. But I don't really think that's manifested very much because he got an ability that makes him as strong as he is.
Yeah.
And the ability has nothing to do with him being related to Zeus. To my knowledge, it just has to do with the fact that he like fell in love with Ainz. Right?
I thought it was more so. I think we're talking about the ability hero. I believe the ability that makes him strong is the one where he not only looks up to Ainz and aspires to be stronger, but also on the other end is someone who wants to protect others and be a hero. He wants to be like her, but he also wants to save others. It's like a twofold thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I wasn't the foundation of the ability like you, like the object of your love. You like are always striving to prove yourself to them or something.
It's been a while since.
Yeah, it's been a while since they explained it. I feel like it wasn't explained last season. It had to have been explained in like season 2.
I want to say like the beginning of season 1, but only to us. Like Belle doesn't know.
Yeah, because Hestia talks about it.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like we get a better explanation of it at one point during one of the seasons, but so much stuff has happened. It's like so many things have happened. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Not most of it is not good, but it's been a journey. Like, I feel like we know these characters, and I feel like that's a little bit why this season was a little wonky, because I feel like this was so different because you were just focusing on Belle through most of it, because Freya, spoilers again, book's up, but spoiler, Freya decides that she's going to take on her alter ego, which is one of the girls at the tavern, Miss
Dwarf Lady.
No, what's her? Not Dwarf Lady.
Mama Macaroni.
No, not Mama
Seer.
Macaroni. Seer, that's it. Mama Macaroni. Come on, she's one of the few that's not affected. But Mama Macaroni is a joke that has to do with the Harley Quinn show, which Elaine's never seen. But that's their
Bits and bobs.
You cannot say that you've seen the Harley Quinn show.
I mean, I used to watch it with you, but then you just kind of...
You watched a couple episodes and you're like, this is all right. And I'm like, listen, I don't need your negativity. I'm going to watch this and enjoy it. But so Seer is a character that's always had a crush on Belle, but it's never been a real thing. Like, it's never been more of than, oh, I'm a female character and there's a male protagonist in this show where it's a power fantasy, so all the women like him to a degree. That's what it always came off as, because she was always kind of a background character. It never came off stronger than like the guild person liking him, like the one who does his adventuring paperwork or whatever. I just realized she wears the same outfit as the demon in that the Time for Torture Princess show. Do you remember that?
Yes, Jeremy.
The demon in that wears almost the exact same outfit as the guild people in this show.
I mean, it's basically a butler outfit.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a butler outfit, but whatever. So she always liked him, and it was always kind of at that level. And then this season, it became the focal point of the show, her liking him. And it kind of was sudden because this is a tertiary character at best. Like, she might be like a fourth tier character up until this point, and then all of a sudden she became the focus of the show, and it was weird. Like, she was getting her own scenes where the main characters weren't there, but we were following her, and it was strange. But then you find out that Seer is actually the mortal form that Freya has taken on
for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, just to like be immortal, because God stuff's got to get boring. So she wants to do human stuff and be close to Belle, because she loves Belle because he has Zeus aura, and so that makes sense. And honestly, it was kind of given away by the scene at the end of episode 1, wasn't it? Was it episode 1 or 2 where they have Freya talking to Seer.
In this season?
Yeah, when Seer like shows up in the white dress and
Yeah.
she's talking to Freya
Yeah, I think
and
that's
she's
the
sitting
one.
up on the throne. It might have been, I think it was the after credits scene of episode 1. And they're like, no, don't worry. It means something. This character's talking to the main bad guy. But I feel like it almost gave it away because of the way they were talking. It really, I feel like we clocked it. If it not episode 1, then by episode 2, we clocked that either she was Seer or she was another god that was like contracted with Freya.
Because of the children made a comment about like our
Like protecting
Patron.
her patron. Yeah.
and then we were like, wait, is it the same person?
Yeah. That's like, what do you mean? And I don't know if it was intended for that, where it was like they made that comment, because it was like kind of an out of nowhere comment. So like they made that comment so they could throw it out there so you could figure it out, I guess, at that point. But all of a sudden that fails and Belle is like, no, I'm still in love with Ainz, who is
So goad?
Ainz, eyes,
Eyes.
whatever, Ainz, eyes, close enough.
Who's on my watch it?
Yeah, I'm still in love with Eyes and rejects her. And then she's like, you know what, screw it. I'm Freya and I'm going to manipulate everybody through my charm ninjutsu. And she charms the whole city to think that Belle is a member of her familia. And everybody's supposed to forget him. But it doesn't work on Hestia because Hestia is Virgin Hearth. And it doesn't work on Mama Macaroni because Mama Macaroni is really cool. Actually, no, she's a member of her familia, I guess she said.
Apparently.
Kind of, sort of.
Apparently.
And it also doesn't work on the elf.
And is it Andromeda?
The one who's, yeah, but she was outside the city. That's why it didn't work on the elf or her, because they left. She grabbed her and left the city. So it only worked on the city. And then we got like 3 episodes or 4 episodes of them trying to convince Belle that what he thought happened was a dream, and she was trying to get him to just like give into it, and that would like make him give in to her. And I don't like those storylines. That concept of a storyline where it's, oh, everything you experienced up till now was fake. I'm going to make you believe it. I don't like those stories. Like every show does like an episode where they're in a dream, or they're in a simulate, like a video game, or they're in a wizard is casting a spell on them. Or I feel like both versions of Charmed had it. Buffy had it. Like Supernatural had multiple episodes where it was one was the trickster one where they're like, no, you guys aren't monster hunters. You like work at a bank. Every show has it, and I don't like that storyline. And most of the season was that storyline. It just recently got resolved in the last episode.
Yeah, now they're going to war.
Yeah.
We got War Games Round 2. I think the only real benefit to War Games Round 2, potentially, that I can foresee, is that it won't be a third of a season, like Season 2. Because the last time we saw a war game was Season 2 with the Apollo Familia. And it was like the first little section of the season, and there was no time for anything to breathe. And I'm like, I liked that storyline. We could have done stuff here.
Yeah, it resolved real fast.
So I'm hoping this is a little more drawn out so we can really appreciate the story.
Yeah.
Without just stretching it needlessly. I do think that, and I've said this before, Freya's obsession seems a little much to me. Like this absolute fixation on this person, Oro notwithstanding. It just seems excessive.
You've never seen Zeusora. Are we putting this down?
I will say, well, season 1 they talk about Zeusora, so this should be fine.
No more spoilers.
I feel like after season 1, they dropped the whole thing with Belle's past. Like it's never really come up again, like where he came from, who his family is, what happened to them. they don't really go into his skills anymore, and they spend all this time developing other characters, which is great because as much as I like Belle and Hestia, I feel like 5 seasons of just Belle and Hestia would have been a little rough if there wasn't at least like one other person in there just to like.
Yeah, I mean, they had to build the cast out because you can't just focus on the same characters all the time. Unless you're Konosuba, then you really only need the main.
Well,
you need the main
four.
4.
4 is a good number, but I just feel like there was this thread and this interesting idea, and it just poofed, like it never happened.
I think the thing that bothers me the most about this show is I really don't like the pairing of Belle and Eyes. It's one of those things like ReZero. I really don't like the pairing between Subaru and Amelia. I don't understand it. Maybe it's better in the books. Maybe they flesh it out more. Maybe the anime's just fast forwarding a lot of stuff. I don't get it. I don't get the connection outside of that was the first person that he met in the world, basically. I mean, he's not in love with the Apple guy, but that was the first person he met. So if it was love at first sight, Apple guy, end game, then that's what's going to happen. But he saw him more than he saw anybody. He kept popping back to the Apple guy every single time he died in the beginning. But I don't understand why. Up until, I guess now I kind of see like, oh, over the last half season with the bunnies, that whole half season, which sounds weird out of context, but it's relevant. They were really, really important bunnies. But over that half season, they built up something, I feel like. But I don't feel like the amount that they built up was enough to counteract what I thought they built up with him and Rem.
Speaking of which, that girl need to come back. I am very upset she in coma still.
That shows that they didn't have confidence in the pairing. They had to remove the other person to make it where they had to spend time with each other.
Darn it, plot.
I don't get that. And I don't get the Eyes Belle thing, besides the fact that he's, respects her strength and he just says he loves her over and over again. And that's supposed to make us believe it. And I don't think that's the legwork is there to make us believe it just because you keep saying it over and over again. When you have Hestia there, who's a better match for him and has done a lot more for him and has shown her love for him repeatedly throughout the show. Like, she works her ass off at all these jobs, which they always make it a joke, but she does work her ass off. Like, the gods don't do anything. They just do whatever they want. They drink, they party, they hang out with people. They just kind of laze around. And she's always working because she's trying to support her familia, which for the most part was just him in the beginning. And she puts herself in debt to support him. And like, she's always supported him in the eyes of other people. She's defended him constantly. And Eyes has done almost nothing for him besides save him repeatedly.
Train him.
But they haven't even trained in a while. They trained for like half a season in preparing for the War Games, basically. And so they haven't trained for a while. She trained him, and then she saved him a handful of times because she's really strong. But I don't get it.
You'll never get it, Jeremy.
Even the elf girl is after what they went through in the last season, the elf girl is a better person to be paired with him than Eyes.
Jeremy will just never be happy. He must accept.
I think this is a valid discussion for this show.
True. We both said in our review of the first few episodes that we felt like it would have made more sense if Seer was swapped with Ryu, because Ryu and Belle just went through this harrowing experience, and it seems from what little we've seen of Ryu in this season that she's beginning to question whether or not she has feelings for Belle, genuine feelings, or if it's something that arose from having this traumatic experience with him.
I could have been happy if that was the direction that the show went in, even if it wasn't like my end game of him and Hestia. I could have taken him going with Ryu because I felt like it was earned and I felt like we got to come along for the journey. Obviously, plot-wise, it wouldn't work the same way. You couldn't have Rio just swapped in for Seer.
No, they would have had to do some sort of different story. But I think that could have been fine.
Yeah.
I think that this plot almost feels like it was born out of nothing. I don't think Seer... I've never questioned that Seer like was friends with Belle or that she cared for Belle, but I've questioned whether or not she ever thought of him romantically. When I think about what we saw of Seer in the earlier seasons, I don't see romantic interest there. And if the premise is that this person was really Freya in disguise, that's fine. And if the premise is that this person was really Freya the whole time, I really don't think it matters. Like, she hasn't, in the grand scheme of things, spent anywhere near as much time with Belle as some of the other characters. She's never expressed any real interest in him romantically, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm romantically interested. I'm like basically obsessed with you.
Yeah.
And now we have this whole plot born of this relationship that seems to come out of nothing. If you wanted it to go in this direction, I think that you needed to spend more time having Seer realize these feelings in a way that felt genuine and natural. She needed more screen time and more of an exploration before it's like, oh, I love you. It's like, well, why? You were just friends. You always seemed like just friends. You gave him food. You saw him at the tavern, and that was it.
But there was no time for it. I feel like this is they would have had to work in. Well, it couldn't have happened last season because they were in the dungeon all season. It couldn't have happened in the second half of the third season because he was a pariah for most of it because he was working with the things.
Well, they basically would have had to insert something with Seer before what we have now.
I think one of the problems we're running into with this show is the seasons are very self-contained. So they kind of we're watching this show kind of expecting it to be like one big story, and they more so than any other light novel adaptation that I've seen, this is very segmented. Like sometimes it's half a season, sometimes it's a full season, and it's just an entire self-contained story. Yeah, it carries over and the characters carry over and the ramifications carry over, but it's just like, this is the season we're focusing on Ryu. It's like, this is the Ryu book. And then this one is the book about the abused, like partial human, demi-humans or whatever they call them. Xeno. Yeah.
The Xenos.
Yeah. This is the Xeno saga. Then this one is the Seer Freya book. And there's not enough connective tissue there where it just seems like they just kind of start a story and then the story plays out for the season and then the next story happens. And I think that's the thing that's bothering me the most. Like, I don't feel like they put the legwork to connect any of the stuff together. And I don't know if that's because these books were not being written as like with a series in mind. Like, obviously they haven't resolved any overarching issues yet. There's the whole thing with the Grand Quest, which has been dropped name dropped in the conversation between Freya and, was it Jupiter? Who's his name? Uranus. The guy who runs the Adventurers Guild, the god who runs the Adventurers Guild. They in their conversation, they dropped the thing about like the Grand Quest or the Grand Quest, and I think there's 3 of them, and they haven't been completed yet, which is apparently what's happening in the dungeon. But it was dropped in like a sentence in the middle of them talking about the plot of this season specifically. So it's just like breadcrumbs here and there where they give us like, oh, this is a puzzle piece to the big puzzle that you've been watching the show for, and we're not going to resolve at all. It just seems like they just throw you out a little thing here, like the Zeusora. They throw that out there. They throw out this comment. They throw out the like a little interesting lore tidbit about the dungeon and how it acts. And it's like, that's the main plot, but I feel like each season just focuses on a season plot and doesn't really progress the main plot at all.
The other thing I could see happening, because I feel like I've seen in a lot of forums and heard from a lot of people, especially when we made our reviews in the past, like Sword Oratoria, the anime, from what I understand, is very different from the source material, the books. Which makes me wonder if the source material here is very different from what we're winding up with. If they're trying to change the story a little bit to maybe engage like a certain age bracket or certain type of viewer, and it's just not working for us as two full-grown thinking adults who want a certain type of story.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I think Sword Oratorio would have been a good delivery system for a lot of the main plot stuff, because a lot of it was set in the dungeon. There was a focus on the dungeon, kind of, and the mechanics of the dungeon through a lot of it. And I feel like that was a good spot where they could have thrown in a lot of stuff that would help the main series, but it just didn't really amount to much.
I feel like the issue with that too is forcing someone to get context from another story set in the same world is always a concept that's bothered me. Because there's going to be people who only are interested in one or only have time for one of the two. And then if they're not watching or consuming the one with all of the quote setting information, they're kind of at a loss. Like, it's not fair. Like, I'm not saying you have to go to necessarily the same lengths, but you have to give us enough where we understand the world and its characters and their motivations to have everything make sense to us.
Yeah.
And it just feels like something is missing. I don't see this romantic aspect. I don't feel this from the characters. I'm genuinely confused as to where this came from.
Yeah.
I think other things would have made more sense. I think Ryu being a potential new love interest and the focus of this season would make significantly more sense than where we round up.
Yeah. And I think we've gotten enough with the characters where we could build plot now. We don't have to keep building the characters with each other. I think we can take a break from that and we can do actual plot. And the show decided that, no, we're just going to do character stuff. Like, this entire season is just character stuff. I guess it's going to be plot when we get to the end of the war thing that's going on now, or the war games. But even that, it's a micro plot. It's not the main plot. Like, it'll resolve a relationship, essentially. Like, the bond between two characters, like, recontextualizing what their relationship is, it will figure that out. But I feel like we're building towards a thing with Seer in the end, like a reconciliation or whatever with the Seer persona. But that shouldn't be the focus of the show. Like, this character that just kind of, it became relevant now. And we keep watching, honestly, because we've watched everything that they've released at this point. So it's kind of like a, sunk cost fallacy. I also just keep expecting them to move the story forward, and I don't know if we'll ever get there. Because if it's that long, if it's I don't know, there's like 17 volumes or something of the light novel, that's a lot. Like, if it's going to keep going for that long, 17 seasons, like, it's not like they release a season every year. So how long are we going to be watching the show before the story goes anywhere? Like, before we get resolution, like a decade down the line? That
they could cut stuff out, because a lot of books developers cut stuff out.
Yeah.
Skip ahead to the important part. But then I wonder if, like, they cut too much out. They were like, oh, we needed that information.
Yeah. I really do want, like, so when the VOD of this goes up on the channel, or anybody who wants to talk in the chat, but this will probably be its own separate thing, because, Denmachi is a thing that we've talked about a lot. But when the VOD goes up, I'm curious, anybody who's read the books, thoughts so far on the show. We got a decent amount of feedback on our original videos that we posted on This Week in Weeb for Denmachi, because we did separate videos for all the seasons. We did separate videos for all of the OVAs, the movie, the Sword Oratoria, and like general stuff about it. I'm interested to see from book readers, how loyal has it been so far, the main series? We know Sword Oratorio jumped off, but like the main series, like, are we building at the same pace? Is there more background information thrown into the books that we're not getting in the show that make it seem like it's more cohesive. I'm interested in that because, you poke around on the internet and you get weird stuff. But like people who are watching our content have seen our journey so far with Denmachi and heard our thoughts all the way through. I feel like you guys know our thoughts on Denmachi. It's one thing we've talked about a lot.
More than anything else.
More than anything else, we've talked about Denmachi. So, but we've never touched the source material. So maybe we're missing something, and I kind of want to know. Do you want to continue seasonal anime discussion?
We haven't really watched much more of anything else other than Sakamoto Days, which has basically been the same.
Yeah, I like Sakamoto Days. It is what it is. It's Mr. Villain, but stuff's actually happening. And Mr. Villain's Day Off, which was a show that I liked, but I kept waiting for stuff to happen, and stuff didn't really happen at all, ever.
And then you accepted that stuff wasn't going to happen.
You had to just get over the hump of believing that stuff was going to happen and waiting for plot. And you just never got plot. You had to be okay with that, and then you could just enjoy the show for what it was. Sakamoto Days is a lot like that, but stuff happens. I feel like there's action, there's fights, there's new characters getting introduced that are kind of interesting. There's it seems like there's a place that it's going. There's like a hierarchy that they're dealing with, traditional kind of evil organization. We're going to send people, they all have their individual quirks, and we're going to fight them kind of thing. But so I think that it's doing a decent job of that. It's the one that I've enjoyed the most. And I think that's pretty much all. Bakaneko we dropped.
After the review, we never touched it.
Yeah, we never touched it again.
Because there was nothing going on.
There's nothing happening there.
It's like it wanted to be Kamakatsu, but it couldn't be as good as that one.
Apothecary Diaries, we were waiting for there to be more episodes out in English, so we're going to start watching them so we can watch, a handful of them. I think there's 4 English episodes out now, probably.
Maybe 5.
Maybe 5. So we're going to sit down and watch them all in one thing, and then we'll give our thoughts on it. I think we'll have we really liked that from when it aired.
Yeah, although I think the first half of season 1 was better than the second half. I think like once they started getting the family intrigue stuff, I was like...
But that's the plot.
I realized
once they started
plot.
doing the plot.
But I think it's interesting when you start off with a show, any show that's episodic, and then they're like, we're lasting a long time. Interessante. And then they try to be like a through-line show. It's a rough transition when you're used to something else.
Cue Supernatural. Monster of the Week until the end of season 1 into season 2. Then it's like family drama and demons. But yeah, so they started doing this is the point of the show kind of thing. And towards the end of the second season. And I think it did have weaker moments in the second half of the season than it did in the first half. But they still kept the, Monster of the Week feel, like Case of the Week, Dr. House thing going. I feel like season 2 has gotten well received so far, so I'm excited to pick it back up. Yeah. And I think that's it that we're going to be watching for seasonal anime. And Shangri-La Frontier, but
that's not we, that's you.
That's me. It's just me watching it. I haven't watched it in a few weeks, but I was enjoying that when it was happening. They were starting to do more big plot stuff and talking about big plot stuff, and I like the big plot stuff that they're talking about. Though it doesn't seem like it seems like it's gonna be a Beaufort situation where it's like I keep waiting for it to be more than a video game, but it's a video game, and I just have to deal with the fact that it's a video game with video game stakes, and that's just it. And you just have to be happy with that, and I'm happier with it now because I've watched Beaufort, and I realized you can enjoy something, and it doesn't have to have world-ending stakes. It could just be like, we just want to win this video game tournament.
Everything has to have stakes.
Yeah. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna end there. We did some seasonal anime talk. We unboxed our stuff. Finally,
ate some really bad food and drank some very bad drinks.
Yeah, finally got to unbox my Gamersupps thing. I'm excited. I got to try the Blowhole Blast, and I mean it's okay. I've been sipping at it. We talked about some manga stuff, and yeah, so you got a little window into our life for the day, and we hope you enjoyed it. Everybody who joined in on the stream, please like the video if you like it. Comment down below. Let us know things that you might want to see. When was the next stream?
Soon.
Yeah, we'll get on a regular streaming schedule eventually. My my work's the issue mostly.
Yeah,
But
it's all your fault.
yeah. And yes, please subscribe to the channel. And look out on This Week in Weeb for the VOD. If you didn't catch all of the Denmachi VOD, it's probably going to go up on This Week in Weeb, I would imagine.
Probably.
Us talking about our thoughts of Denmachi so far for 45 minutes or however long we talked about it. But that'll be exciting. Ring that bell so you know what's up. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
That's not the mouse.